was filed by Esther Kahumbi. A lot of issues have been raised there today to help us unpack some of those issues. We have Kamanda Mucheke, who was, you saw him speaking there. He's the head of investigations at the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights. And today the conversation is about the anti-terror era. What are some of your views and questions and comments on the same as their conversation, as they continue to have this conversation with Mucheke Njau? Get on the hashtag Power Breakfast and send in your comments, views, and even questions on 22422. Mucheke.
Welcome, Mr. Mucheke. Thank you. This is a special report, the era of fighting terror with terror.
Yes.
What made the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights investigate this, and for how long is the investigation? What caused it?
First of all, to start with Mucheke, the National Commission is a constitutional body also established by a statute, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And one of our core mandates under the Constitution is to monitor, investigate, and report on compliance on human rights in all spheres of Kenya, and that's Article 59 on human rights, including the national security services. So it's a constitutional obligation that we have as a National Commission. The Commission has been investigating. This is one of the many reports that we have done. Last year we released a report during the Operation Usalama Watch. And then we continued because every time we have had these terror attacks, there is a reaction by the government. You remember during the Isili crackdown, following the Westgate attack. So after the Garissa University attack and the bus attack in Mandera, we saw the government again mounting an operation to crack down on suspected terrorists. And immediately the operation started, we began receiving complaints from members of the public, particularly in Nairobi, Mombasa, and the Northern Kenya region. And because that is our work, we are mandated by the Constitution to receive these complaints. So we went to do our job of investigating the violations. Yeah.
What do you want to achieve by doing this?
We want to achieve justice for the victims, because Kenya belongs to the civilized community of nations, which follows the rule of law. We have a constitution with a very robust Bill of Rights, actually the longest chapter in the Constitution. And a state has three obligations when it comes to human rights. One obligation is to respect. Respect means do not violate human rights. The second one is to protect. To protect is when people have violated human rights, whether state actors or non-state actors, the government has a duty to protect citizens from those violations or to take action against those people. And the third obligation is to fulfill human rights. That's to take measures, policy, legislative or otherwise, to ensure people enjoy human rights. And the Commission is the arm of government or the arm of state that deals with the enjoyment and the promotion of human rights. So this is our constitutional mandate, and we have to do it, we owe it to Kenyans because we are established on behalf of Kenyans.
Isn't it a fact that when issues of insecurity, or terrorism, or emergencies, human rights are naturally suspended?
No, they can't be suspended.
It happened in America after 9/11.
Yeah.
America is supposed to be the biggest democracy. That's a set example. When they even, if you went to America then as a black person, or somebody who is suspected to look like a terrorist after 9/11 plane, whatever happened there, it changed completely the face, the human rights observations in America. How do you expect the government or the military or the police to rid this country of terrorism if they don't use all the force that is possible?
First of all, the fact that it happened in America or elsewhere does not legitimize it, does not make it right. The law is very clear. We are, as I said, we are a society that have chosen to be governed by the rule of law. Article 238 of the Constitution says that pursuit of national security shall be done in compliance with the law and in utmost respect for the rule of law and human rights. That is the Constitution, passed by majority of Kenyans. And we are a country that abides by the rule of law. Kenya, other than the Constitution, we have signed international instruments. One of it is the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Torture is one, in international law and human rights, we say is one of the peremptory norms. A peremptory norm means these are some of the freedoms that cannot be derogated whatsoever, not in times of war, not in times of emergencies, not in times of terrorist attacks. That is the law. So long as the law is there and we are a government, a society that has pledged to live by the rule of law, there are no two ways about it. Going back to America, President Obama was here the other time. He said that Americans have also learned that mistakes were made. Studies done all over the world have shown that punitive methods of policing are counterproductive. They do not yield any results. The solution lies in coming up with a holistic strategy that addresses the drivers, the socio-economic drivers that drive people to terrorism. And there are many in this country. One of it is the inequalities, the youth, massive youth unemployment, particularly in the coast. We have impunity. Impunity in this country is the biggest problem. Corruption. You send people to northern Kenya, immigration officials, police officers, security officers. What they do, they take bribes to allow illegal immigrants to come to this country. Look at northern Kenya, for instance. I have worked there for 2 years. When security officers misbehave in Nairobi or in towns, they kill people, they torture people in Nairobi, and they need to be disciplined. You take them to discipline them in northern Kenya. So what do? You are transferring torturers. You are transferring corruption. You are transferring killers to northern Kenya to go and kill people there. It's not animals who live in northern Kenya. It's people who live there. So you transfer problems out there, and that's why we do not punish people when they make mistakes. Impunity goes on and on and on, and it permeates the entire sphere of the country. So we must deal with those problems that allow acts of terrorism to happen.
What I can see in this report are statements or claims by various people, and you're giving the names of what the experience they had. Muhammad, Muhammad Adan, Malim Farah, Ali Duale, Kenan. These are claims by people who are saying this is what happened to me, this is what happened, like this 17-year-old from 1-3 student of 15 secondary school in Wajir. These are claims. What is the evidence?
They are not claims. Before we put a profile there, there's a lot that goes through it. So we receive a complaint from someone, we register it in our system, and because it's a serious claim, these are very serious breaches or violations, if you may. We have a whole investigation mechanism at the Commission. So once we receive a complaint, we have investigators, we have systems, we have offices in the regions, we have an office in Wajir, we have an office in Mombasa, and we also have in the head office people to be deployed in the field. So we have gone and spoken to not all of them, because as you see, this is a preliminary report, so it's still work in progress. So we have spoken to not only the victims, we have spoken to their family members, we have spoken to their relatives, we have spoken to friends, we have spoken to people who saw them being arrested. If you look like case number 1 there, this is someone who was arrested from his home. There were people who saw him being arrested. We have an office there in Wajir, so we got a complaint in Nairobi, so we relayed the information to our office in Wajir. We spoke to the family members who saw him being arrested. We went to the police station where he was taken, that is Wajir police station. We confirmed he was held there for a number of days, actually beyond the 24-hour rule allowed by the Constitution. The police handed him over to other people who flew him in an aircraft to a place where he said he was subjected to more than 15 days of gruesome torture, burnings.
This is on Ali Abdullahi, 48 years old.
48 years old.
Yeah.
So
this happened in May this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's taken to the police station. Then the police officers there hand him over to people he says are the military. He's taken into an aircraft. he's taken to somewhere where he's kept for 15 days. Without food or with very minimal food, just to keep him alive, subject to electric shocks, beaten. He says his entire private parts were mutilated by the officers who tortured him. He tells us his brother has also disappeared. His case number 3 there. When he was in the military, in the adjacent room, and they are blindfolded. If you see the pictures, you will see a mark on his nose, which is consistent with what he told us, because he said he was blindfolded for all the days very tightly so that he wouldn't know where he is. And when he is being tortured, he hears loud screams from somebody who he says that was my brother, who is still missing now, who was also arrested. You see number 2 there is the wife of the brother who has disappeared. So they go and arrest the wife and her daughter, a minor actually, as a bait to bring the husband to the police station. So they arrest the husband after keeping the wife for 4 days. Once the husband is arrested, then they tell the wife, you have no charge, go. So you see, that's a clear case, just by way of example, that we have established that the security forces are complicit. And why are they torturing him? To confess that he is a member of the Al-Shabaab, or he facilitates money transfers for Al-Shabaab. Very well, he could be. We are not pleading the guilt or innocence of these people. They could as well be very guilty. But we are saying we have chosen to follow the due process. And we have not suspended the Bill of Rights.
This is very shocking.
Take them to court, charge them. If they are terrorists, let them go to jail. That's why you have jails. If you want to be killing people, let's remove the jails. Let's suspend the Constitution and say anybody who is arrested or suspected for terrorism or any other, fine, let's do that. But as long as the Constitution remains, we have not called a referendum to amend the Constitution to clear the Bill of Rights. We are bound by it. And the National Commission, we have taken an oath
let me ask you this. This is atrocious, because I've been a journalist for years. These kind of things used to happen during Moi time. We know Baraka Karanja. And Peter Njenga Karanja, who was arrested in Nakuru and ended up in Nairobi Kenyatta Hospital, dead. We thought with the new constitution, these things are going to be over. What is the need for having the constitution then?
Precisely our question, Mucheke. We had also thought, we all fought for this constitution. We've been in this country for long. As a national commission, as the principal organ in the promotion and protection of human rights, we are very happy when this constitution was passed. And we said, it's a new era for the respect, and then we see this happening. That's why you see in the title of our report, we have called it the era of fighting terror with terror.
So why are you not going to court? Why is nobody going to court? And if somebody has disappeared, having been arrested, like Peter Njenga Karanja was arrested in Nakuru, I did the story. We had Baraka Karanja who disappeared. We had the inspector of police, a judge, Schofield, had the matter. In fact, Schofield resigned because of that case. The judge who was under the case. Why is it now we are not following these things? We just write a report. What for?
No, we are not just writing reports, Mucheke. This is the first step. We first document, then we gather evidence. If you read the report all through, we have at least 4 cases. You don't go to court without evidence. So you first gather the evidence and establish culpability on the part of whoever is responsible. We have so far had 3 habeas corpuses on the cases we have established.
And they're
in court already, in Wajir and in Nairobi. Today or tomorrow, together with our legal department, that case number 1 and several others, where now we have all the documents. Because you file a habeas when you have established the police picked this person. So we have filed that. We are in the process now of consolidating the evidence that we have for forwarding to the director of the prosecutions, and you've seen in the recommendations. So in the coming days, we will start seeing people going to court. Particularly with the police, the only difficulty we have is the military, because the Kenya Defense Forces remains largely insular. You can't penetrate them. The police, for instance, we have the Independent Police Oversight Authority, who we have recommended go and, because they are now, before they were established, it's us who used to hold the police to account. But now we have the IPOA. Yes. So the police can be held to account by IPOA. We do not have a military oversight body. They won't allow you in because they say this is a military zone. The law is very clear. It's illegal to hold civilians in a military camp. They are doing it. For the commission to take action...
What does the cabinet secretary or the chief of defense say about this matter?
We have written to the 2 cabinet secretaries. That is the one of Interior, Nkaiseri, and the one of Defense. Because normally what we do when we have these concerns, as a government agency, we want to talk to them and tell them these things are happening. Since they came to power, we have not had any appointment with them to share these concerns that we have. We have written letters, they are on record. So they haven't said anything. Even after we released the report, I haven't watched news yesterday. We haven't had any feedback. And that's why we are saying...
Why can't you take a walk to Mr. General Kaiseri's office with a report and say, this is what you have? Why is it not possible?
We have, as I said, we have written.
You can write a letter to him and ignores it.
He ignores it. So, but our work has to continue. That's why we have to tell Kenyans what is happening. Recently, they have, the government has started this operation in Boni Forest. Actually, one of the reasons why we decided to release a report, as preliminary as it is because we already started getting complaints from residents of Boni Forest. You know, we have forest dwellers, they are well, who live in that forest. That's their livelihood. They are forest dwellers, that's where they live, that's their livelihood. The government tells them vacate Boni Forest, but they don't give them alternative shelter and livelihoods. Yes, we support the government efforts. Let's go and flush out Al-Shabaab and whoever criminals are in that forest. But then these minority communities, they also have rights. So we are telling the government, and then we also receive information that there is torture and violations have started happening. So we said, let's reduce this report, even as we wait to raise the matters with the relevant authorities on the report and pursue the culprits in court, in the hope that this will act as a deterrent. And with regard to Boni, again, we are urging the government abide by the section 238 of the Constitution. It says you must pursue national security with utmost respect for human rights and the rule of law. Give urgent and humanitarian assistance to those forest dwellers in Boni. Evacuate them, fine. Have a camp for them or wherever. Give them shelter, give them food. And until they're able to resume their normal lives once you have flushed out the Al-Shabaab, and then go back. We cannot fight insecurity with insecurity, because chasing the forest dwellers out there without alternative is creating an insecurity on them. So balance the fight against insecurity. No one is opposed. No one is supporting terrorism. We abhor terrorism. We condemn them in the strongest terms possible. We sympathize with all Kenyans who continue to be harmed by terrorists, who have lost their lives and their relatives. But then we say the only solution in dealing with terrorism is the respect of rule of law. That's where our destiny, our future is. Because once you start violating, and then the other problem, you allow the security forces to go killing people in the name of terrorism. Once they are done with terrorists, they will come for everyone. You have just talked about Nyayo House. It became a hunt for everyone. Right now in northern Kenya, this fight has now become a way of settling scores. I don't like you politically. The elections are coming. Because I have power, I say you are Al-Shabaab. You are picked, you are killed. We have business rivalry with you, or your business is doing better than mine in this town. I'll just say you are doing money laundering, you are getting money from Ismail. So I kill you. So once we allow the rule of law to collapse, then we become a banana republic. And we enter in the domain of the rule of the jungle. And we know what that means. We are not a failed state.
You have said you have worked in northern Kenya for 2 years.
Yeah.
When you interact with the local people there, for instance, the county commissioners, the chiefs of police, how do they justify this?
They justify this by saying that we arrest them, human rights people come, and then in the courts we have the lawyers, they hire lawyers, the court release them. We arrest them, people come and claim, because they say it's very difficult to gather evidence sufficient to have them convicted. So they decide to do a shortcut, and the shortcut is kill them. Dead men tell no tales, but that is not the solution. The other major problem is profiling communities. If you look at all those people, of the 125, 97+% are Muslims. Majority of them members of the Somali community. Communities don't commit crimes. Religions don't commit crime. It's people who commit crimes. So when you target communities indiscriminately and in a disproportionate manner like they have done, you isolate the communities when you lead them. People will want, Mucheke, as a national commission, because people feel safe with us, we have had people who have come and surrendered. Criminals, whether it's Al-Shabaab or violent criminals. I'll talk of Al-Shabaab. You will see some of them there, they said they surrendered. We handed them over to the police with the help of civil society organizations. Only weeks later, you are called, so-and-so has disappeared. So what are you doing? Instead of rehabilitating Al-Shabaab members who have surrendered, you kill them or you disappear them. So even those who wanted to surrender and come and help the government, they will not come out again. You isolate a community, who will report terrorism? Nobody will report. So the solution is let the government nurture good working relationship with communities, with all actors, civil society organizations, with the religious communities, and we have this dialogue because Kenyans want security, so that we are able to comprehensively deal and secure our country. Let the government, we had the Truth and Justice Commission, which published a report, which enumerated all the ills that bedevil this country. One of it is marginalization. We know about marginalization in the coast. In the north, let the government deal with the socio-economic grievances that people have that drive people to this kind of desperation. I believe, Mucheke, you have gone to the coast province, you have gone to northern Kenya. The level of despondency is appalling, is amazing. And people have no jobs. They have been pushed to the wall. And they see Al-Shabaab or other criminal enterprises as an alternative to their life. So let's give people hope, if I were asked. Let's begin, people are hopeless, give people hope first. Like Obama did when he was going to be elected. He came and said there is hope. So once people have hope, they begin seeing a future. And people have hope through putting in mechanisms, let people get educated, create job opportunities, deal with the inequality gap that is there, and people will be removed from joining Al-Shabaab, particularly our youth.
Oh, there's massive reaction here, and you seem to be getting a lot of target, people who are very annoyed with you. These people, that is the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, your group, you are working for terrorists, and you should be investigated yourself. Let them show the security forces where Al-Shabaab stay. Why can't they, the people in that area, not cooperate with the government? That's one question. We have to be realistic. Our laws and judiciary do not support effective deference and prosecution of, especially for the public good. If the terrorists in Garissa had been arrested and done away with, we would not have been talking about 142 young people who were killed at the university. What we should require is the police to be more diligent to avoid mistaken identity. Even God says, according to Psalms 18, to the crooked, I will show myself crooked. Even God punishes the crooked. Yeah. Kenya National Human Rights Commission, what do you do when terrorists kill people? Is that not a human right violation when terrorists kill people? The people killed by terrorists, the Garissa students, did they enjoy human rights? Tell Kamanda Mucheke that the people who complain to him of human rights violations are the very same people who and kill us in the name of Al-Shabaab. He should first investigate them for violating human rights by killing innocent people. When they came to kill us, when do they take us to court? When Al-Shabaab kill Kenyans, why can't, which court do they take them? What human rights do they exercise? I wish you gave out the names of the terror suspects when innocent Kenyans were being killed. Be fair. I am Mucheke from Kisii. Who is supposed to act on this report of yours? Who is supposed to act on it? Do you expect that the torturers will act on it? Do terrorists have human rights to kill people and destroy property? Yeah. This is the reaction of the Kenyans.
Thank you. I hear Kenyans and I feel Kenyans. I know Kenyans at the moment have no sympathy for terrorist aspects. The Commission does not support terrorism. As I said from the very beginning, we condemn terrorism in all manifestations. We condemn all the terrorists. But we are telling Kenyans that there is a difference between terrorists and security agents funded by taxpayers that abide by the rule of law. Terrorists have a mission to go and kill. They are savages, and you don't expect them to follow the rule of law. The security forces cannot put themselves on the same plane as terrorists. There must be a distinction. And the distinction is abiding by the laws that the country has set. The law does not say, let's kill terrorists. It does not say that. The law says everyone, every citizen of this country must be subjected to the due process of the law. The solution, as I said, lies in the government setting up effective, efficient mechanisms, not only to prevent, but also to deal with terrorism when it happens, and to respond to issues when they happen. Let's invest in intelligence-led policing. You are told there was intelligence in Westgate. You are told there was intelligence before Garissa attack, the university. What happened? Because we have mechanisms and institutions that have become dysfunctional. They are not functioning. You have the security, the intelligence wing of the government that does perhaps feeds the other wing of the government that's supposed to enforce, but there is lack of coordination. So let's deal with the core. Let's enforce intelligence. Let's ensure there is proper coordination between all the arms of government, so that once we have intelligence that a certain person or persons are about to do a terror attack, intercept it. If it's happening, deal with it with the immediacy that it deserves. You saw America, what happened in September 11th? The moment the Twin Towers were attacked, the government said, seal the American airspace. There were planes that had not hit wherever they were going to hit. They were shot down. So when it happens, because sometimes it inevitably must happen, so it's coming up with effective mechanisms of dealing with terrorism when it happens. They're asking us whether we handed terrorists to the police. I've just said, Mucheke, that people have come to us, youths have come to us, because we have offices in Mombasa and northern Kenya. People say the government gave that that call for people to surrender. We have people who have surrendered. Instead of using those people, getting information from them to penetrate the Al-Shabaab wherever they are, and rehabilitate them and demobilize them and use them to suppress Al-Shabaab where they are, you kill them. That is counterproductive, because whoever else is in Somalia,
where is evidence were killed?
They will not come.
Where is evidence were killed?
It's there in the report. We have it. Some of the information is quite confidential at this point, so we can't publish everything in the report of this nature, because we also are alive or sensitive to the security of our people. But I can tell you for sure, we have information. There are those we have concrete evidence that they were killed, but there are those who have disappeared, and that's those are the ones who we have listed at the back of the report and who we are still investigating. But we have those cases that you are sure they were either disappeared or they were killed and their bodies found somewhere and they were buried. So we are telling Kenyans, let's abide by the rule of law. That's where our safety lies, all of us. I keep asking Kenyans, Mucheke, every time there is that corruption index, the police always rank number 1 or 2, the most corrupt. Yeah? Why do we say they are the most corrupt? Yet we want to entrust them, yeah, to give them a carte blanche, all the powers to do everything. That power, you give people power, there must be oversight of that power. So you can't allow the police to do that. You have just talked about Nyayo House those days, and many others. The story is long. So let's follow the rule of law. We are not saying the police should not do their work. Let them arrest the criminals wherever they are. Let them generate and come up with watertight cases against them. And they will be convicted by the judiciary. That's why we have the maximum wing in Kamiti Prison and Shimolatewa and in Naivasha to take those hardcore criminals once they have gone through the due process. Yeah? But even as we do the military, the narrow military approach to it, let's not forget the underlying drivers of terrorism and general insecurity. And let's not just focus on terrorism, because you have general crime in the country. You read the newspapers every day, people are being shot, dead and killed. And it has not deterred people from committing crimes. So let's follow the due process of the law and let the national security agencies follow the constitution and the rule of law. Failure to which, as a commission, we'll continue to do our job together with other oversight authorities. We'll be monitoring what is happening in Boni Forest. We are monitoring what is still going on in the northern Kenya and other areas. And we will do what we must do as a commission in accordance with what we are required to do by the constitution and the law.
What do you think, since you've said you cannot penetrate the military, you have a power to deal with the police?
Yeah.
What do you suggest should be done? Because the military is involved inside Kenya. In the provision of security, which I think is not...
Which is very disturbing, and it's good you have raised that.
What should be done?
Because you remember one of the requirements before the military is deployed, after the experience in Mount Elgon, the military need to get approval by parliament. So that they are and it's only on specific instances where the police are overwhelmed. Now, when we asked why the army is still all over, what you are told by the authorities is that there is a standing approval for the military to go, which is still fine. But let's have mechanisms of holding the military to account, because you cannot be given powers. And you know, every time all over the world, when the military comes out of the barracks, it's so nice to be out here. Yeah, you don't want to leave the streets to go back to the barracks. So let's have mechanisms to hold them accountable. And we have suggested as a commission, in the same way we have the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, let's also have a civilian oversight authority for the military. But we have a mechanism under parliament, and that's why in our recommendations we have said in the interim, even as the commission continues to pursue and demand access to these military facilities and information relating to the abuses, let's also have parliament, because parliament oversights everyone, is the legislative arm of the government, and that's one of their core functions. Let the national both parliament, both houses, they have the committees on defense and national security go to these military facilities. We are willing to share what we have. Let's let them go and establish what is happening there. In the meantime, in the recommendations, we have asked the Chief of Defense Forces to issue immediately a circular to all the military bases and remind them that you cannot hold civilians in military camps. It's illegal. And there is also torture and all other violations. They are outlawed by the law, by the constitution and our international law. Even in the KDF Act, torture is prohibited expressly in our KDF Act. So let's have action, internal action taken, because accountability comes in different forms. There is internal accountability and external accountability. So that's why you have called upon the Chief of Defense Forces to take action. We also have the doctrine of command responsibility, that military commanders, wherever you are, you must have effective control of your subordinates. So Mwadede or the other commanders, or even Kaiseri or Boynet, they cannot tell us, we don't know it is happening. According to that principle, you ought to know that your officers are not violating human rights.
Does the military have this report now?
We have forwarded it to them. We have forwarded it to all the cabinet secretaries, to the Chief of Defense Forces, to the IGP, and we are waiting for them to respond.
Do you think they will respond?
We hope they will.
And if they don't?
If they don't, we have our act allows us to take certain measures, certain steps.
You have talked about going to court?
So we have already begun going to court. So we are going to court first to have those who have disappeared come back, and then have those who are responsible, the culprits who are the perpetrators of these abuses, be brought to account. So that process continues. But as you will agree with me,
it is very shameful to hear this, to get this kind of reports in this country at this time.
Yeah.
Because I remember I spent 2 days in Eldoret.
Yeah.
The police had claimed that Baraka Karajo was buried in Eldoret, which he wasn't. And we dug the graves, 25 graves looking for.
Yeah.
These things are happening now, and those graves we are saying there.
Yeah.
Have they been dug so that we establish whose body is there?
Thank you for raising that. Thank you for raising that again.
Doing the DNA to find out who are these people.
Thank you. When we got information about those shallow graves, we quickly deployed there. By then the graves were still fresh, although the wild animals, the hyenas, had started bringing up the bodies. So we went and told the authorities, and you could count. There were 2 big ones and 1 small one, and we went and told the police, secure the grave, even as you don't know where it comes from. The police are telling us they are buried. There's nothing much we can do. If we found a body lying somewhere, we would pick it and take it to a mortuary. You see that kind of reasoning. We told them secure it. They did not. So we keep going back there. The second time we found, now the bodies are up, rotting. We just see skulls there. You go at that time, now even all the bodies are out, or maybe not all because they are still there, and the clothes are there, outside there. And we start counting the trousers.
Why did you not take the clothes yourself and the bodies and do DNA?
We do not have that facility amongst ourselves, because we need the police, the criminal investigation department to come in. You need the government pathologist to come in. So all the arms of government must work together. My work is to go and tell them, hey, we have found dead bodies which are suspicious, and they might be pointing to something bigger than this. Come in. So because justice and our work, respect for human rights, depends on the workings of all the organs of government. So once I report, let the pathologists come in, the forensic experts come in, let the police do forensic criminal investigations on those bodies. So what have they done? They have left the bodies there.
Okay, what about the relatives of the disappearing people? Are they getting lawyers? Are they getting assistance to individually claim either dead people or the lost people?
So that's what we are working on together with other organizations. We have organizations like IMLU who are helping with the medical aspect of it. There are those who are injured. Once we have them released, they are given medical assistance. We are working with our legal department, together with other agencies, to assist the families file cases in court. Even as we seek to know where the disappeared are, which is very difficult because nobody knows where they were picked. Because usually Muslims go to the mosque in the evening at 8 to 9. So you are alone coming back at home, you are picked. So all the while the family will say, he left to go to the mosque and he has not come back. And that's how it's difficult to get to account for missing persons, because they have been taken away from the ambit of the law and you can't really get. So you just list them as disappeared. And the government cannot tell us, finally, Mucheke, that it is Al-Shabaab. Yeah? One of the core obligations of any government, worth its salt, is to protect its people and to secure its borders. There are various elements of a state. You have a border and you have effective control. Assuming it was Al-Shabaab, granted, why do our security officers allow marauding Al-Shabaab gangs to go to towns and mosques to abduct people? So either way, the government cannot escape. It is core obligation. Yes, we condemn Al-Shabaab, but let the government give security. Let them bring people. Let them engage us. Let them engage all actors to help them bring out the Al-Shabaab and report when terrorist attacks are taking place. But going outside the law, torturing people, killing people, disappearing people, it will remain being counterproductive, and it will create breeding more terrorists. Because people are bitter. People have lost. What do you think is going in the minds of... We have spoken to women. The impact on this on women the elderly, and the disabled, because you have left without breadwinners. Women are going through stigma, yeah, because their wives and mothers of Al-Shabaab and terrorists. The stigma they are going through, the psychological stigma. So that is counterproductive. We will continue breeding more terrorists. Let's abide by the rule of law. We are not Al-Shabaab. We are a civilized state. So let's show we are different through deeds by abiding by the Constitution and the rule of law.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. With those tough ones from the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, it's a very sad story, this one. Let's go and listen to the Christian music that we are enjoying this morning.